is not going to fight him. That exposed, Deontay a little bit. But you got to be able to do what Lewis can do and take a massive shot
for 36 rounds.
For 12 rounds. And that's going to be a hard combination to find for anybody. Forget Lewis, just anybody in general. At the very end, it might be the history will show that Deontay might go 100-0 with 100 knockouts. And when you rewind the clock, Lewis will be the only one that was able to do it to him 2 fights. Beat him for 2 fights until he gets, obviously, stopped. Everyone else is getting flattened, knocked out. He's not even being phased. Lewis was hurting him in the first fight, almost had him out. In the second fight, in this fight, he had him dazed and rocked and earned his respect. He was supposed to come blast him out in one. That wasn't going to happen. He knew better. Lewis would have got that counter in that first shot, and if he would have come in trying to be more aggressive. But listen, he's learning, and he's got that missile, so he can't do anything.
And how do you think Wilder Fury 2 go?
He's not going to respect Fury. He's going to come at him. He's going to come right at him. Fury don't have the pop to do anything to Wilder at all. Lewis can punch. Trust me, he can punch. 27 people will tell you that. And Wilder's handling it.
Herman, I know you guys lost, but are you proud of Luis's performance?
Without a doubt. And like I said up there, it's second to what he is as a human being, who he is as a man, how he treats his team, how he treats his trainer, how he treats his family, how he treats people around him. An example, he's in the grocery store and somebody's, on a layover, getting some groceries, and they started talking, and the guy, he realizes the guy don't have the money to stay in a hotel. Instead of just giving him the money to stay in a hotel, he brings him home and lets him stay in his house for a day and a half until his flight is whatever. That's that person he is, dude. He's an awesome dude. So
I know diet and nutrition were a big part of this camp. Totally revamped his body. At the end of the day, a heavyweight needs to have a strong chin. How do you kind of move forward from here from a strength and conditioning standpoint too?
I think we didn't do any strength and conditioning. Larry ran him on the track. It was really just conditioning. Strength and conditioning is why they call it, but we didn't go in the weight room, not once. It was all through nutrition. So we, with water intake and all the, nutritional supplements and things and food. So it was done that way, and it was done smart that way. And as far as the conditioning part, it was done on the track and in the swimming pool and in the boxing gym and sparring. So very traditional ways to get in shape, So
do you think you saw what you were looking for from a physical standpoint?
Absolutely.
All the improvements
you can see it in the speed, you can see it in the explosions, you can see it in the footwork and in the spins that he couldn't do the first fight. And the first fight he couldn't do that because his hand was broken and we couldn't get surgery to take out the plate and the screws that were ailing him every time he punched. So the first fight we could only run. You couldn't spar, you couldn't hit bags, you couldn't hit mitts because it was excruciating. The pain would shoot up all the way to his shoulder. So, when you're untested like it was in the first fight, you can't pass on an opportunity to take this fight and show the world that you are a fighter. So that fight happened. Now we get the rematch. We got in great shape. He'll sleep good tonight because he knows he left nothing in the ring. It was just, again, maybe the referee lets him keep fighting, and maybe the referee says, okay, you're good to go, and gives him 8 seconds, and maybe it happens in the next round, but maybe it doesn't. So, but you'll never know, and that's what you got to do.
And it's also hard to think about the future, but considering the state of the heavyweight picture, who do you think is a good opponent for him? Would you consider an Usyk? Would you consider someone in the top 5 who's not a champion?
Yeah, anybody. Lewis never said no to anybody. He always, because this is how it works with with Lewis's promoters or manager. Hey Jay, you want? Yes. You didn't even know? Yes. Okay. Yes.
Who would you like to see him fight?
Anybody there. Winner of Joshua, the loser of Joshua and Ruiz. Fury, anybody in the top 5. That's who he needs to fight. He's the best heavyweight on the planet, Deontay Wilder, by far. He might even be the best heavyweight on the moon, if there's boxing on the moon. So, if you can do that to the best heavyweight, you're just getting stopped like everyone else. So, why not anyone else?
You said the personality of a boxer matters when you work with them? Personality
For
of
me,
a boxer.
yes.
Someone like Andy Ruiz that has very special personality in that heavyweight. What do you think of a guy?
I don't know Andy Ruiz's personality, so I couldn't speak on it. But I go by that. I go by how he definitely he is as a human being. How he is as a man, because that tells you a lot about his character. And if his character is strong, then you can get into the trenches and dig with him, and you can ask him for things that potentially are going to get him killed, and he's not going to second guess what you're asking him to do if his character is strong, because he's going to give you those things. And it's not me being picky or selfish or demanding or any of that. Is being in the sport as long as I've been through a lot of different scenarios where at the end you still get to the same place, but you don't have the same kind of guy. It doesn't end the same way.
Ortiz boxed well the first half of the fight. I mean, his condition looked superb. He was landing on the champion. Did he seem to tire after the midway point of the fight?
I think the fifth or maybe the sixth round, he got a little bit tired, went to take a break, and I think maybe that's the round he got caught. It was the seventh, right? The seventh round. Yeah. So maybe the sixth round he got a little tired, and in the seventh round he just relaxed a little bit. You can't relax on Deontay. That's when he takes advantage.
Sorry. People are going to spend a lot of time talking about Deontay's power in this fight. You've seen how he fought Ortiz with such a bomb, but can you speak on Ortiz, Wilder's chin a little bit? He took a lot of shots from Ortiz today that might have hurt a lot of them.
Yeah, when you're in shape, you can take those shots, and like I said, Lewis, was definitely hurt, and he got up. He was in good shape, so it shows you that you're in shape. When his chin is probably underrated. Yeah, I mean he took some big shots and not super flush, but these were set up shots, that would have probably knocked anyone else out.
A lot of other heavyweights, I feel, if they were
well, Lewis has hit a few people with those same shots and they went out. So when you set them up the way he did, when you get behind the jab, you squat, you come under, you come over. Those are shots you don't really see coming, and he managed to withstand them. So, nothing but respect for Wilder and the preparation he did. He took it seriously. He's going to fight Lewis. If he fights him 100 times, he's going to take him seriously 100 times. He can be 100 and he still take him seriously.
As a trainer, how do you make Ortiz kind of go for the pressure a little bit more and try to end the fight a little sooner? See if you're saying fatigue might have came in the fifth or sixth round. Moving forward, how do you have Ortiz kind of make sure the fights end maybe a little bit sooner?
That really wasn't the game plan here in this particular fight because Wilder does a fantastic job of evading and jumping and pushing off, and he's 6'6", 6'7", and his head goes, when he pulls away, it's like 7 feet tall at that point. So, Lewis is only 6'4", so it wasn't the right game plan to try and do that. The game plan was body attack, angles, set up from down to up. So, maybe somebody else, more Lewis's size or just a little bit bigger. But it's just the wrong guy. The different. Some guys, you don't really need a game plan. Like you said, you just, all right, let him go at him, take him out. You got one round to get the job done. This is an elite level, and the championship fight, and he's defended it 10 times, and he's a world champion. So you got to use your head a little bit. You got to work your way into the knockout, and that's what we're doing. I'm sure he would have caught a second win, 7th and 8th, and had no issue. But it's unfortunate.
Did Ortiz hear the crowd chant his name? In the first half.
Oh no, I don't think he heard any of that or paid attention to that. He says that he only hears my voice, when we're in the corner. Most fighters will tell you the same thing,
So were you surprised by the support of the arena? Because it seems to be more for him than for Wilder.
No, I'm not surprised that people love Lewis and start, to really, I mean, he's a guy that's giving you an honest, assertion of himself. He's letting you into his life. He's open book. He's going to try to fight. He's not going to lay down. He's not going to quit. He's not going to, look for an excuse to not fight. He's going to fight, and that's what the fans want, and that's what people want, is somebody that's coming in there and is going to fight and is going to really either go out swinging or get the knockout, and that's what he does.
Do you believe in your heart that at some point Ortiz will be able to capture a heavyweight title?
If in fact Deontay unifies it, if it doesn't take another 3 years to do so, you never know. They might free up an IBF. They may, a version of it. There's so many titles. There's 4 titles. It's possible, yeah. But we've talked about it, and I think if it can happen in the next year and a half to 2 years, then yeah, he can still do it. He's 40, but trust me when I tell you what he's doing in the gyms, what he's doing on the tracks. He's doing what 30-year-olds are doing, if not outdoing them. Just the cameras aren't there to capture that, but I see it, and I wouldn't be obviously standing here before you and selling you a bag of goods if I didn't think that we could do what we just did for 7 rounds.
Would you like to see him fight Usyk?
I think if it's a money fight, if it's a big fight, I think Usyk has to prove himself a little bit in the heavyweight division first. Great cruiserweight, but you got to do something in the heavyweight first, and then before he gets into likes of like the bigger guys.
What did Luis tell you about the punch, the actual punch that went down?
He didn't even see it. He kind of slipped to check maybe like one of the wild ones that Wilder throws, and he was like checking that, and it came right in, and he didn't even see it. And so you can't defend it when you can't see it.
What did you think about the count? Did you think it was like?
The count was, listen, the ref, you can't blame him. He probably thought in his head, I have no clue what time it is. Wilder can come in here and do a lot of damage. Let me just stop it now. That's A. But B could have been, he knew that the hammer had hit and there was maybe about 8-7 seconds left. Give the two guys that deserve, a shot to really, really, really finish it definitively. He got up. So, it can go both ways. I understand both. I prefer the second,
What did you tell? Go ahead. What did you tell? What did you tell Wilder, Ortiz every round to make sure he's in the game and keep going?
To settle down, don't try and hit the home run right away. To just keep setting it up, working off the angles, working off the game plan. Just keep the jab going. A southpaw has to jab. If you don't jab, then why are you even a southpaw? Turn righty. So you have to follow these things and just calming him down. And he wants to go in and do what Wilder did.
Did you notice? Obviously, many people noticed that Wilder was not very active. Was Ortiz kind of wondering the same thing, or did you believe that was his game plan? We didn't know if he was hurt. We couldn't tell. We couldn't see anything, really.
Wilder was stunned a few times throughout the 7 rounds, and Ortiz got his respect, not only with the speed, but the angles and the head movement and the ups and the downs and the changing of levels and the pace. So that got his attention. He thought he was going to have the original one that he fought that was literally handicapped that first fight. But this was what Luis could do and should do and has always been able to do. But, when you get him out in 1 or 2 rounds, sometimes you don't always follow the getting in shape plan. You just say, I'm going to knock him out. And even though we push, obviously, it's not the same, when you fight the elite guys. He got up for Wilder as Wilder gets up for him. But, to answer your question, I think that definitely it was a great fight, and the plan was working. And it just got caught.
I have to congratulate you guys. He looked tremendous in the ring. He was moving. He was quick, and he looks great. Yeah. Congrats to you guys. Congrats.
Thank you very much.
What did you say overall when you were in the locker room with him about how he felt in his performance?
You can't say anything. You can have a guy who's 6-0 and loses, and if he's really as passionate about what he's doing like Luis is, it's going to suck at 6-0. In this level, it's going to super suck. So there's not much you can say other than you're so proud and you got nothing to be, ashamed of or down or, stop apologizing to everybody because there's no reason to apologize. And that's what he kept doing, was just apologizing that, he didn't win the fight or whatever. So there's no need for that. We're a tight-knit group, as I'm sure Wilder's team is a tight-knit group. You don't need to apologize to family, it didn't happen.
How's Ortiz's daughter been?
She was distraught. She was probably the most distraught. She's the oldest. She knew exactly what was happening. So, he calmed her down. He was more worried about his daughter after the fight than anything else. And they're good now. It's a tough moment for him back there. They all.
So what happens, in your opinion, then, when Wilder rematches Fury?
He knocks Fury out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Knocks Fury out. He's only getting more confidence. A steamboat. This is a boulder, one of those big snow boulders, growing and growing, rolling downhill. That's going to destroy the little town at the bottom, and anyone at the bottom is going to get bulldozed. And everyone's at the bottom. He's at the top. So if Joshua fights him, Joshua's going to get knocked out in 1 round, not 6, not 8, not 10. 1 round. It's going to be 1 round, just like Brazil. Just like Brazil. Fury might last a few more rounds because obviously he's shake and bake, but. It's going to get knocked out.
So in Saudi, you see Andy Ruiz probably retaining the title?
I don't know. No, I don't know. It's 50-50 because, it might be, set up for Joshua to just end on his feet and he wins a decision. And then, you can't do anything about it. Just keep it close, stay on your feet, and you win a decision. Maybe. But if Ruiz kind of does what he did to him the first time and takes his best shot like he did the first time, it could repeat it. Yeah, absolutely. It could repeat it, So.
Thank you, sir.